Draymond a fake tough guy? Is he calculated?
Meaning, what does that mean?
That means that he is very good at engaging.
Maybe he just hasn't. I think what Kmart is saying is that he hasn't started something with the wrong person. For instance, do you remember when Boogie Cousins, DeMarcus Cousins, went against Zach Randolph and was trying that with Zach Randolph, and Zach Randolph said, "I put fear in the bullies." He picked on the wrong one, because DeMarcus used to go after just about everyone, but he wouldn't go after Zach Randolph, right? And I think that's what Kmart is saying. Like, you're not going after the real tough. You're not going after all the...
Draymond Green just made the wildest slip-up of his entire career, and it had nothing to do with basketball. One single word turned an ordinary podcast episode into a full-blown war. Now, two of the NBA's toughest personalities are locked in a heated feud, with legends choosing sides and old locker room stories flying around like bullets. This isn't just online talk anymore. It's pride versus pride, and neither man is backing down.
A lot. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and it said flagrant flyer because he was flagrant fouling people. Who else does that sound like? Draymond, right? Y'all are very, very similar. You are both at your peak, elite defenders. So please stop arguing. Neither of you guys are going to win this argument. You guys are not going to win it. You both are some of the greatest I've ever seen. You both are a little different, all right? But just know this, Dre, I will respect Kenyon because I fought him in a locker room, right? Because we were chirping back and forth.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm crazy too. I'm just a different type of crazy as these two. But I'm just saying, Dre, if he would fight Tracy McGrady and he would fight Karl Malone and he would fight damn near anyone in the NBA, and I saw him do and talk to everyone that way, you and him would have fought. And that's kind of what Kenyon liked. And you would have been okay with it. But make no mistake, if you would have tried to talk to him like you've talked to other players, that would have never been allowed. I watched it for multiple years. That was not allowed. And you would have still did it, and y'all would have fought. That's the only thing that I'm telling you, that's factual. And Kenyon, I'm going to express to you, Draymond is special. He's annoying because all the things you don't like about yourself, you see in him, right? He's annoying. He is the most important defender of this generation. Draymond is. So stop disrespecting each other. Start to support each other and squash this. Because y'all both a little different, but what y'all both accomplished is game changing. Kenyon took a franchise with no relevance and took them to the finals based off of his defense. And once he left, they have not been to the conference finals since. That shows who he is, and it's very simple.
Everything exploded when Kenyon Martin went on Gil's Arena and dropped a bomb straight at Draymond Green's chest. He didn't just critique Draymond's game, he attacked his character. Martin called Draymond soft, a fake tough guy who only starts problems with players he knows won't swing back. In NBA language, that's fighting talk. You can call someone overrated or lucky, but calling them soft cuts deep. That's the kind of insult that pushes even the calmest players over the edge. Draymond wasn't letting that slide, especially not from another Saginaw guy. Both men grew up on the same Michigan streets, where loyalty is everything. Draymond always believed hometown guys supported each other, not tore each other down on podcast reviews. So when Kenyon threw out that soft jab, Draymond took it personally, really personally. He jumped on the Draymond Green show and fired back with one of the coldest clapbacks he's ever delivered. He called Kenyon an underachiever, pointing out that a number one pick with only one All-Star appearance, 0 rings, and no all-defensive nods didn't have the resume to talk. Draymond made it clear, if I quit today, my career still shines brighter than yours ever did. But Kenyon wasn't taking any of that lying down. He hopped on Instagram Live, ready to set the record straight. He reminded fans that he led the Nets to the NBA Finals in just his second season, something only legends like Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Walton, and Elgin Baylor had ever done. That's elite company, and Kenyon made sure everyone heard it. Then he dropped a stat that sent the internet into chaos. Draymond has more games scoring 0 points, 46, than he has scoring 20 or more, 44. His message was simple. You're calling me an underachiever, but you're the one disappearing on offense. Sure, Draymond has rings, but Kenyon claimed
to Draymond, Kenyon was so elite, we never went to the finals again without him. We never went to another conference finals. We went to multiple playoffs, we never went to another conference. Obviously, Kenyon had, I think, the knee surgery, the microfracture, so he was a good player, but never the ability to be a great player, in my opinion. I love you, Kenyon, but that's just the true after the knee surgery. But Kenyon was that dude. Now, Draymond, part of the reason why many months ago I said, Draymond, you are the most important defender of this generation, and that's based off of my knowledge of Kenyon Martin. That's my knowledge of Kenyon Martin and what he would do, right? That's why in Golden State, if they lose you, right, it's a problem. Same way when we lost Kenyon, we never went to a conference final. Now, to Kenyon's point, Dre, I love you to death. Kenyon, it was a little different up there, right? There's that Ron Artest, there's that Kenyon Martin gene, right? Where it's like, hey, you don't want them to see red. You don't want those Bulls to see red. I personally don't believe that if you two were on the court at the exact same time and you were being Draymond and he was being Kenyon, if this was 2004, Dre, you would have had some issues. If it was 2020, I think the dynamic is different. It's not allowed to get that way. If you were playing with Kenyon, because I watched him club Karl Malone, I watched him club Tracy McGrady, and part of the reason why I got the start, or they traded Keith Van Horn, is because every time Kenyon would get suspended, and it was a lot, I would get to start. I would become the starting small forward. So that's what I'm expressing, is that if you, and this is not saying that Draymond, you would have talked how you talked, because that's who you are. But if you would have talked like that to Kenyon in 2004, when he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated with his chest out saying badass yellow boy, and the NBA told him he had to stop showing that tattoo when he would dunk on people, y'all would have fought 100%. I saw him, y'all would have fought 100.
Miller didn't sugarcoat a thing. He said it flat out. Draymond doesn't go after the real tough guys. And coming from Reggie Miller, that landed differently. This is a man who survived the era where toughness wasn't a persona, it was survival. He battled the bad boy Pistons, traded elbows with Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley, and played in a time when players hit first and asked questions later. So when Reggie co-signed Kenyon Martin's take, it wasn't just an old head rant, it had real weight behind it. But then came a twist nobody saw coming. Richard Jefferson stepped into the conversation. On his road tripping podcast, RJ aimed his words straight at both Draymond and Kenyon, and what he said left fans stunned. Unlike most commentators, Jefferson actually lived around both personalities. He shared locker rooms with them, witnessed real tempers explode, and even revealed that he once got into an actual fight with Kenyon Martin during their New Jersey Nets days. Let that sink in. RJ, one of the calmest, most level-headed players of his generation, ended up throwing hands with Kenyon. That alone shows what kind of fire Kenyon carried back then. Jefferson didn't hold back with the praise either. He said that when Kenyon entered the league in 2000 as the #1 pick, fresh off a devastating college injury, he still completely changed the culture of the Nets. What was supposed to be a bottom-tier team instantly flipped when Jason Kidd took over the point and Kenyon locked down the paint. Together, they ran through the Eastern Conference, shocked the entire NBA, and reached the finals. RJ said Kenyon was one of the most elite defenders he had ever seen. Physically insane, loud, relentless, a defensive menace who could guard anyone from point guards to centers without hesitation. And this wasn't a soft era. Back then, big men were...
And Draymond only, I'm going to talk about both of you guys to you guys. Kenyon, or first of all, Draymond, let me talk about Kenyon first. Kenyon was, and I know you know this, this is how I'm going to talk about both of you guys. Kenyon was maybe the most elite defender, physically, communication-wise, intensity, all the things. That's who Kenyon was. Kenyon showed up. He had a chance at Rookie of the Year, but was coming off a major injury was still the #1 pick. That's how dominant he was in high school or in college. And when I got there and I was a defender, Kenyon was so elite defensively. The Nets were picked to finish second to last. Go ahead, now it was 25 years ago. We were picked to finish second to last in our conference. We led the conference start to finish and went to the finals. And that was because, in my opinion, of obviously Jason Kidd was our Steph Curry. But Kenyon Martin was
RJ didn't stop there. He said he personally witnessed Kenyon Martin throw hands with Karl Malone and Tracy McGrady. Kenyon didn't care who you were, rookie, veteran, or Hall of Famer. If you crossed him, it was go time. Jefferson even joked that half of his early career starts came from the games Kenyon got suspended because it happened that often. Kenyon was pure fire, raw emotion, zero filter, and full impact. RJ reminded everyone that Kenyon once landed on the cover of Sports Illustrated with the headline "Flagrant Flyer," which summed up his entire vibe. He played so aggressively that the NBA actually asked him to stop showing off his Yella Boy tattoo after dunks because it caused chaos every time he touched the rim. That's how wild his energy was. Kenyon didn't just play basketball, he blasted through it. RJ's point was simple but brutal. Draymond can flash his 4 rings and his Defensive Player of the Year award all he wants, but if this feud had happened in Kenyon's era,